the narrative which we have been given in our country, that India became free, like Independence Day, 15 August, and you have unfurling of the national flag, the Union Jack going down and so on and so forth. Well, it's the things were not like that actually. Union Jack did not go down that day, and we didn't get freedom. We were, dominion status. Now, most people are not even aware of what is dominion status. People are not even aware of the basic facts of history. For example, Gandhiji never wanted Putin Swaraj. He wanted dominion status. Like Canada has got a dominion status. New Zealand has got the dominion status. And Subhash Bose and Mahatma Gandhi were like, were not on same page when it came to this particular facet of our history. So this is very, so the can of worms will open up if you start. I mean, even if you start with 15th of August 1947. So I believe government has good reasons to hide things, and it's been happening over the years. And what happens that when you've been hiding something, when you tell one lies, to cover one lies, you have to come up with multiple lies, and then that's what's been happening. And this whole thing has built up over the years, and now it's very difficult even for this government right now to uncover everything, because when you open a can of worms, you never know which worm will come from which direction. When we were growing up, we used to hear this story about there were some sort of secret protocols, secret clauses of the transfer of power, by which the power was transferred by the British to those Indians who were pally with them. And people made all kind of allegations. These allegations were published even in mainstream media, like the newspapers in those days, that there were some secret clauses, with secret protocols of the transfer of power, which were not conveyed to people of India by the powers that be. And one of the protocols concerned Subhas Chandra Bose, that if he were to return to India, or if he were found alive, he would be handed over to the British or the Allied forces, something like. So these kind of allegations were making rounds, and they were even given publicity in mainstream newspapers in those days. The government of India never ever opened its mouth on this issue. Even in our time, they have not said a word about it. And that is despite the fact that our government and our leaders, they go all over the world, and they keep talking about the virtues of always telling the truth, and and non-violence and ahimsa, non-violence and truth, which they keep harping upon, but they never convey this thing to people of our country. Now something dramatic happened in by 2009. Well, the genesis go back to 9/11. After 9/11, as you remember, the American CIA had failed to give a proper warning. They did not share the information with the FBI. That was one reason the 9/11 happened. Thereafterward, like CIA came under a lot of criticism. But over a period of time, people realize that if you keep criticizing your own security agency, is not good for your country. You demoralize those people, and whatever happens, the intelligence organizations, whenever do something good, it doesn't get publicized. But whatever negative thing happens, they get all the bad press. So it's not good for them. So they should be, their good thing should be projected. So in America, a trend started whereby they began, coming with books which were cleared by the agency, and they came up with the movies to show the CIA in good light and show, look, we have been doing good things as well, but they were never publicized. I believe similar thing happened in England, and similar things happening in India right now, that you're trying to project the good sides. And I'm sure the books which are coming out about India's intelligence agencies are cleared by the government. They are not happening on their own. The government is definitely behind it, but it's good. It's in national interest. I'm not against it. The point is, something similar thing happened in England, and the MI5, the British intelligence agency, they came out with an authorized history of whatever they were doing for their country. And they hired a very well-known professor of espionage and intelligence, Christopher Andrews, who had previously worked on the Mitrokhin archive. Christopher Andrews was given oath of secrecy, and he was shown classified documents from the MI5, and he came out with the authorized history of the MI5, which is now available all over the world, including in India. It's a pretty thick book. Now there, I believe, either by mistake or by design, God knows, so they accepted the fact that in 1947, there were secret clauses to the transfer of power, about which my government has never told me a single thing. MI5 was good enough to tell the world the clause which concerns them. And this clause, under this clause, an office was opened in Delhi, security liaison office. And this office was like super boss to the IB. And Indian Intelligence Bureau was supplying all the information to their former masters after independence. And this trend continued until 1968. So this is now coming, the part that there was a secret clause. And under that clause, MI5 opened an office in Delhi. and that this office continued until 1968. We did not come to know about it from anybody in India. This is coming from the British. So my suspicion now, of course, is now very clear that if they have hidden one clause, there must be other clauses as well. So once you're caught, with on one point, there must be 500 other things you must have done something wrong. So this is a matter of record now. The MI5 admits, and the worst thing is that when I asked the government of India about it under the RTI, I got no answers. They refused to answer the question. The BJP hasn't changed the official narrative of the government of Indian side. I mean, there's nothing has changed. I mean, I believe the former minister of HRD was publicly, proclaiming that he has changed not a word in the Indian history. So the problem with the system that for last 70, 80 years, the system has towed a certain line. It's very difficult for them to turn around one fine morning, even if the government top people change. And especially the bureaucracy which guides the government of the day. And they have nothing to gain by talking about Subhash Bose. Now, the biggest advantage with, for example, the problem with Subhash Chandra Bose's story, it is not sellable in America and Europe. Today, if you make the whole thing public, it might thrill people of India, but it will not make people in the West very happy. And the problem with the Subhash Bose story is another problem. The problem is that once you have the facts coming out, be it the issue of his death or otherwise, in whichever way you make the facts public, eventually it will come down to the fact that India became free because of this man. But the credit for India's freedom was transferred to Mahatma Gandhi. And when that happens, again the problem, there's a clash. The Indian ruling class and the elite are more interested in what will probably sell in the Western countries. And Gandhi brand, the biggest advantage with it, it's sellable in America and Europe. And our entire, I'm not saying that everybody is like, Westernized, but then the basic fact of the matter is that the entire Indian ruling class and the elite are essentially Westerners. They are sitting in India, but their families and souls are living in Western countries. They probably wouldn't want to, bring about such a massive change in the narrative. And we saw this thing recently when Prime Minister Modi announced, which I think is a very encouraging sign, that Netaji statue would be put up in Rajpath. We will talk more about it, a little later. And when that happened, suddenly you saw that people, Western media people, and also our Malini madam, in Chennai, the Hindu editor, whatever, she was speaking the same language as if she's living in New York City. She's not living in Chennai. So there's a problem with the Indian elite, and these are people who wield the power in the country. They are the running, and in fact, I remember again, thinking on the same line, when Prime Minister Modi thought of changing, names of certain parts of Andaman Nicobar, people did not like this in their PMO because they're still, people are still victim of the wartime propaganda, the British propaganda about the Japanese. They tend to believe the British, not Japanese, not Subhash Bose. So that's so here a huge problem. System itself is not ready. I would draw an analogy between, you saw this very famous movie, The Matrix, Keanu Reeves, first part, not the latest one. I didn't like it. The first part was, it's a make-believe world, which was, built over 70, 80 years. To dismantle this matrix is not that easy.
Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content, and to support our work, please visit citti.net. Dhanyavad. Namaskar.